what I want to talk about today is the first 30 seconds to, let's say, 3 minutes of an interaction. There's several skill sets in approaching women, and one of the skill sets is literally becoming good at walking up to new people. And when you walk up to new people and start a conversation, that's the first 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes of an interaction. That is a skill set in and of itself that very few people really master. Some people are really good at conversation. Some people are really good at listening. Some people are really good at seduction. Some people are really good at internet dating. But being good at the first 30 seconds to 3 minutes of any new interaction, let's say up to 5 minutes, is an art form itself. This is something I learned years ago from Lance Mason at Pickup 101. He talked about this, and I thought about it a lot. It really is true that there are people that have really mastered the art of that. How do you say hi to new people? What's the art of listening to new people? And when you think about all the people in your life that are, for example, people you know, like each other, you're all friends with each other, right? You can walk up to a friend and you have a contract for them to treat you a certain way. You have a contract for Bent to you have a certain expectation of how Bent's going to react to you. And so you don't worry about it. You walk right up, hey buddy, what's up, right? And we open right up, hey Jack, how you been today? But when you first meet somebody, they first walk in the room, like we had a new girl in the room today. Did you guys notice that when she came in the room, she is navigating the contract of how everybody's going to treat her versus how you guys were going to relate to her. But you had a sense of contract with the other women that were in the room because you'd met them before, except for Deanna. But it was interesting, huh? You could feel that anxiety go up. You could feel the energy shift. You could feel the energy in the room shift around her. Anybody notice that? People that are really good, men that are really good at the first 30 seconds to 3 minutes of interaction, are comfortable in the unknown. They're comfortable meeting. They get excited. They get turned on for meeting new people. Meeting a new person is an adventure. It's like exploring, like if you're a hiker and you explore a new trail and you've never been on it before. It's this idea that I have no contract with Tom. I have no idea how Tom's going to react to me, and he just got introduced to me. Or I'm going to walk up and say hi to him for the first time. That's the art form. That's what you're actually mastering. And when you think of it that way, when you start to look at everybody on the street as somebody I don't know, and every time I walk up to them, I'm going to be starting that first contract, laying out our agreements. It changes the whole way you see approaching people and approaching women in the world. And it makes it more interesting, I think. Because when you think about it, meeting women is a daunting task for a lot of people. But when you think about, wait a minute, I'm only mastering 30 seconds to 3 to 5 minutes of an interaction. That's all I'm mastering when it comes to meeting new women. Now, I'm not saying there's not stuff after that. There is. There is the 5 minutes or so, 3 to 5 minutes, you start to drop into this kind of rapport phase, this phase where you're starting to get comfortable with each other. You're starting to get a feel for each other, right? And then you're feeling that phase out. But if you do that first 30 seconds to 3 minutes right, and you're really good at it, that next phase is going to be 1,000 times easier. Curiosity is going to turn up. Appreciation is going to turn up. Turn-on is going to turn up. There's all these different emotions that are going to kick on. The sense of connection, like when we do the letting in, and you feel that resonance point, like that point where the resonance happens, and there's a sense of lock-in. That stuff has already happened. Maybe it's happened a couple times. You look, she blushes, you look up again, and now curiosity's through the roof. You got an oxytocin response. You're feeling good. Now, if you get that sensation from the first 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, somewhere in that range, maybe you get it a couple times. The rest of the interaction changes drastically. The lean in on her part changes it drastically. If you're really good at that and you get that point, you get that part of the interaction down, how would you feel in the second part of the interaction? How do you think you would feel? Would you feel good, more confident? Would you feel more secure? And I think a lot of people aren't good at that. A lot of people are bad at the first 30 seconds to 3 minutes to 5 minutes. And so they don't have that security in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes of an interaction. I personally don't believe it buys you it buys you a bit of time. If I got the first 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, then it buys you, let's say, 15, 20 minutes or something like that. Or it buys you more responses in an email, or not an email, in a texting situation. Like now I'm going to send a text, get your number. But the odds of them responding go through the roof, drastically. The odds of them investing go through the roof. What do they have a memory of in their mind? If you nailed that first 30 seconds to 3 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. They have a really good memory of a cool dude. And when he texts, they project that memory onto the text. And they're like, oh, I really like this guy. I really felt warm when I talked to him. I really felt a connection. I want to respond, right? And that's really cool when you think about it. If you're bad at that first 30 seconds to 3 minutes, maybe you get a little attraction, maybe you even get flirty, maybe you even get phone numbers. This happens all the time. What happens after that? Well, maybe they leave going, he was a cool dude, but 10 minutes later they met another cool dude, and another cool dude, and another cool dude. And then the next day you send them a text, oh yeah, that guy. Okay, I'll get back to him later. And they forget. It's not like they didn't even like you. It's just you didn't stand out. In average, if a girl is really attractive and talking to a lot of guys and flirting, average puts you in a big group of guys, right? But how many guys really master that first 30 seconds to 5 minutes? A lot of people put a lot of work into it, but they're not thinking about 30 seconds to 5 minutes, 3 minutes, somewhere in that range. They're thinking about the whole interaction to dating, sex, marriage. They're putting this big onus on it. But if you just strip all that away and say, I'll get to that, I'm going to get really good at this point where she leans in and says, who are you? With her eyes, with her tone, with her energy. And I'm going to get good at doing that in the first 30 seconds, 5 minutes. I want to know more about you. I'm curious. Now you've really cut that second portion of the battle way down. Think about it in marketing. If you write a really good hook and you write a really good title to an article, and that hook or that title and maybe the first few lines and bullets are so good that now I gotta know more, that buys you another how many minutes in marketing? I can't remember what it is, but it's a certain amount of minutes. And now you've got time to play, time to breathe, because they're curious. They want to know, they're open to what you have to say. Well, it's the same thing on an interaction. Most people are, in my opinion, if they're really bad at that, then they gotta work harder later. Let's say they get a phone number, then they gotta work harder to attract her in text. Like, yeah, I forgot about this guy. So now you gotta send some super creative text. You gotta send some really cool pictures. You gotta send some, whatever you gotta do to compensate for that lack of ability to really let her in and have her get that warm, fuzzy response from you. It literally is a warm, fuzzy response she gets. And then curiosity ensues instantly. I met a girl here in Romania a year ago when I was out with Simone and at Negroni, and it was a really fun interaction. That's what I remember. And I don't know how long we talked. It was longer than 5 minutes, but I remember that first few minutes was just so much fun. We really connected. It was warm, it was fuzzy, and I remember talking to her, and me and Simone were leaving, and I remember saying to her, wait for the police to go by. I remember, we can leave that in the video, it's not a big deal. I remember saying to her, she was we just had this really cool interaction. I remember saying to her, hey, we should go out. Well, she had just literally been through a breakup like the week before, and you could feel that part of her heart that was leaning in, really interested, but I don't know, I think I need time to heal. And I said, well, I'm leaving Romania soon. Let's just leave it up to Kismet. I'll be back in a year. Let's meet again. And if we meet again, it's meant to be. And I left. And I could see the intrigue in her eyes. I didn't think anything of it. I was having fun, and I didn't expect to see her again. I didn't really have much time. And just the other day, it was like couple weeks ago, Simone sends me a text. Hey, you remember that girl you met a year ago at Negroni? I just ran into her at Negroni. And he said, she was asking about you. She told me, she said, Yeah, your friend from America, I met him a year ago. And he said, oh, Brian, his is rolling R's. And she goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, he told me that he was going to come back in a year. Is he here? And she said, he probably doesn't want to still go out with me, does he? Now, that was over a year, 1 year. And she remembered that. That is good. Let's say first 3 to 5 minutes, we probably talked for maybe up to 15 to 20 after that. That hooked. You see what I mean? Or how about the woman I just met in Croatia? I flirted with her up a storm. Just the first interaction was on, I could tell. And then I flirted with, that's kind of cheating because I had 2 or 3 interactions with her. And then we've been texting since I got back. I might go over to Belgrade. Right? I met somebody else on that trip too. I only talked to her twice. Like the first interaction was maybe a minute. It was a lot of tension, a lot of play. She leaned right in. You could see it. The second interaction, she started flirting with me hardcore back, and we got sirens galore. I don't know how clearly they can hear me. So. Okay. So the second interaction, she started flirting with me hardcore, and I didn't get a chance to get her number, so I just friend requested her on Instagram. She accepted it like that. And I feel like that's on too, because they hook. You get inside each other. You see what I mean? I had another girl, this was years ago, and I remember talking to her for probably all of 5 minutes and got her phone number. And I got a girlfriend right after I met her. I remember this distinct conversation we had. It was really nice and warm and fuzzy, and she leaned in. And I remember getting her number, telling her I'd text her. And then I went home, and I had been dating this other girl. And I decided that week to make the other girl my girlfriend. And so I said, I'm not going to text her. I got a girlfriend now. So I let it go. And then about 3 months later, maybe it was 4 months later, we were going to have a party at my house. People were setting up for the party, and we were just inviting anybody and everybody. And I didn't really date this girl. I never had anything with her, but she was a cool chick, and I was inviting everybody I knew, and it was going to be a big party. And I sent her a message, said, hey, we're having a big party at my house. If you want to come down, it'd be awesome to have you at my party. And I really had a good time meeting you that day. It was only like 5-minute interaction. She goes, oh, it's you. That was the first text I got back. And what do you mean, oh, it's me? And she goes, oh, you're the guy that says you're going to take a girl out and then disappears on her. And I was like, that was like a 5-minute interaction. And I said, are you really upset over me not texting you? And she goes, and I said, what happened was I got a girlfriend that week. And maybe I was a dick. This was a long time ago. I didn't think it through, but I just said, I got a girlfriend now. And I got a girlfriend shortly thereafter. And I figured, it was just a quick interaction. I was just going to let it go and be respectful to my girlfriend. But if you want to come to the party, bring a guy, bring friends. It's going to be a great party. So I don't go to the party of men that have girlfriends, guys that I am attracted to that have girlfriends or something like that. And I was like, really? And I think back then I didn't quite understand. Like, I didn't get that this really happens, because I just couldn't fathom it. Before that, I wasn't good at it. And so back then I was like, really? She liked me that much? She leaned into me that much? And now I start to see it. I see it when the hook happens. And there's this like pull and lean in. And you guys all know now, you've been doing the work this week, where we get the resonant place, where the hook happens. And there's this pull, and you can feel that person is like curious and they want to know more about you. And there's a part of us, when we've been bad with women our whole lives, when that happens, we don't believe it. We sit there going, yeah, she's just being nice. And you don't realize you are changing the way your energy is, the way you're flowing. There's a question that Zan asks, and I think it's really relevant to this topic, the first 3 to 5 minutes. Maybe, let's say up to 50, then you got the second, let's say 5 minutes to 20 minutes or somewhere in that range. I don't know. We'll make up a number. If you're online watching this and you want to put a comment, and marketing, tell us what that would be. Like, would it be 15 minutes, 20 minutes? But it's that second period of time once you bought time with that first 3 to 5 minutes, you got really good at it. That second period of time is where you can deepen, really create this sense of connection. And in that second period of time, this is where I think this really happens, is for a lot of men, and I think a lot of men don't think about this, and I think it's really an important question. Zan used to ask it all the time. Have you ever been a woman's fantasy? Can you picture, like, think of every halfway decent, semi-attractive girl has had how many men thinking about them? How many men fantasizing about them? How many men, and these women know it. You know, there's this guy dreaming about sleeping with me, maybe doing who knows what, you know, thinking about me. How often do you think that has happened to you, where some girl is at home getting wet thinking about you? Have you ever been a girl's fantasy? When you get this stuff right, you can start to become, and I couldn't accept it at first that there were women out there that were feeling that way, because then I would see their reaction later and they were mad at me for not calling them back, and I thought they would forget overnight. And then it goes back to this idea of what Lance, who taught me about this first 3 to 5 minute concept, is 30 seconds to 3 minutes to 5 minutes, somewhere in that range. He used to say 30 seconds to 3 minutes. And the concept it was really simple. It was that if you do a good job in that period of time and you really connect, they're not going to forget about you. They're going to be thinking about you. And I just don't think at that time I could fathom that idea that some woman would be fantasizing about me a day later, a week later, a year later. But it happens. It happens. But for men, it's different. It's not because you wore the right outfit, have high heels, you tossed your hair, you're sexy, you're flowing off your femininity. It's because you're grounded, you're definitive. You took that femininity in, you ran it through you, you created that point of letting them in. You opened up and their energy came through you and they felt it happen. You received them, you saw them, you witnessed their beauty and took it in. And because beauty is, another thing Zan says, is beauty needs a witness. You're not the beautiful one, you're the witnesser. And when you become a really powerful witnesser of that beauty, and you receive it through your body, and she feels you receive it, which is a literal thing that happens. That's the letting in, feeling her in her heart, feeling her in your gut, feeling her in your turn on. When you feel all that happen, it has an effect on her, a powerful effect on her. But unfortunately, most men, because we're so visual, we can't see this energy at play because it's a non-visual energy. It's not like your typical, like, we can see her and we can see, like, we can see why men are attracted to her, the way she's walking, carrying her bot. We don't see that in other men. It's hard to spot it unless we look at, he's physically good looking. Okay, I get it. He's got muscles, he's fit. That's what we think it is. But it's so much more than that. It's your leadership, it's your grounding, it's your ability to witness, it's your ability to channel her, it's your ability to show up under tension like we were doing all day today in the practices. That's why I was grilling that so hard. The subtlest tension, the like micro subtle bits of tension where you lock in and feel the resonance and you hold it under stress and tension. That's what makes her wet. That's what gets her turned on. That's what gets her thinking about you. And then your ability to feel her subtlest emotion and let it run through you like lightning through a lightning rod. And then witness it, experience it. That allows her to surrender more and more into her feminine, which then makes her more attracted to you. You know, she can be more of what she was designed to be because you are present, right? Okay, I think that's it. Any questions? Let's take 1 or 2 questions and we'll end it on that. If there's none, we'll end it. You're all giving me that look sometimes I get where I can feel all the tension and you're all thinking and you're all feeling something. Does this
question? That was cool.
Yeah. Does it connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What did you hear in it that connected?
Yeah, just how important creating that hook, you know, in the first few minutes.
Here, you want me to hand him the mic?
You just move in. Just sit here and then you can.
Okay.
Yeah, just being able to create that hook, you know, in the first few minutes of the interaction, just how important that really
It's a whole
is.
art form.
Yeah.
And that's why I emphasize the resonance so much and the letting a girl in, because that's really that's the biggest part of the hook. It's not even what you say, and it's my ability to open up and let you in that moment. Like you were talking about with that pet shop girl. Every time you go in, she gets so happy, she gets giddy. Or the girl at the party, when you said, we just talked, how long did you talk for? 30 minutes, 40 minutes?
Yeah, something like that.
And then she was, and you notice what the lean-in was like with her, right? She was insisting you two were going to go out and hang out together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's very different than probably, maybe, I don't know, that you've experienced in the past. Right? And that's what I'm talking about. Has anybody experienced that resonance with a woman when you're out? Where you feel her go into your, it's like you feel her go through you, and she feels it too. And that's hard to explain on the camera. I do my best. I have the letting in and the vulnerability walks, vulnerability talks, but what was that like for you, Ben?
Magic.
Magic? So did it happen, when did it happen?
It's a long time ago, but it was like, I remember her seeing me and like I felt this jolt of lightning.
Right through your body,
Yeah.
yeah. And then she felt it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Have you had it on your approaches?
Yeah, I've had it a few times. The one that I could really recall was...
Speak up a bit for the camera.
Yeah, the one that I could really recall was this woman who we just talked for about an hour about this work. And it was nighttime. And kind of felt like I could feel like the word that comes to mind is like starlight between us. Like it was kind of like a twinkle in between us. And we were just really locked in. And it's definitely warm.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. If you go to the first 3 to 5 minutes of that interaction, because you talked for an hour, what was unique about that first 3 to 5 minutes? 30 seconds, let's say. Yep, 30. It could even be 30 seconds. The 3 to 5 minutes. We'll say 30 seconds to 5 minutes.
It was definitely a choice made on my side to talk to her.
Uh-huh.
And also, there was a curiosity between us both.
But at what point, when you walked up, how long did it take before there was lean in on her part? From that first 30, did it happen in 30 seconds? Did it happen in 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Before she suddenly went, this guy's interesting, there's something about him.
Like 30 seconds to a minute.
So 30 seconds to a minute.
Sat down.
Yeah. So if you get really good at letting him in, it can happen fast. It can happen instantly, actually, less than 30 seconds. So have you had an approach where you felt lean in under 30 seconds?
The woman I asked to tell me to fuck off was definitely that.
Huh.
It was just very, it was very effortless. And
You asked her to tell you to fuck
open,
off, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, because that was
I
it.
didn't start out with that. It was just like, hey, this is gonna sound really weird. And I was like, I made the contact, and then I was like, do you mind if I sit? Oh yeah. And then
But you walked up and asked her to tell you to fuck off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's rejection. We're doing some rejection proofing there, where he's walking up and asking for the rejection right on the front end, and then she locked right in, right?
Yeah.
Then did she tell you to fuck off or no?
She did.
And
twice.
and then did she smile and lean in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I ended up even grounding her out because she was nervous about a trip to San Francisco and stuff. We ended up talking about that, and it was nice. It was
Nice. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. So, if you put some time in understanding this idea, what makes you really good in that first few seconds? So now we could say even a few seconds up to 5 minutes, somewhere in there, the magic happens and the lean-in happens, and the shift happens.
I've got a small story. 1 second. Let me get this mic.
Speak of the devil, Simone, come on in. We were just talking about you on camera. I was talking about that girl over at the one that I met a year ago over at Negroni. She approached, what was that, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? She walked up to you?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. And what did she say to you?
She said like, where is your friend? I said, what friend? She said like, the friend from, she goes along describing Brian. No, your Californian friend.
Yeah.
Then she described me Brian, and she said like, yeah, last year we talked, and he said to me that if in a year he will be back, and we'll probably go out on a date together or something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said like, and then I said to her, okay, yeah, I have, he's here in town, so I have to like, I can set up a date if you want. And she said like, no, if he didn't show up, it's because he's not interested.
Yeah. Did she like think to the day? Like I was supposed to show up on that day? Was that what it was?
During that period.
Yeah, so it's still that period. So yeah, it's funny. And interesting. So they do. They fantasize about you. They dream about you. They think about you a lot. So, okay, let's hear your story.
So, I was going out with some friends in hopes of, picking up some women. But I saw this girl with a shirt on, the name of the band, that I really liked, but it was not a well-known band. Like only a few people knew about it, really. So it's a Finnish metal band. And when I saw that on a girl, my whole desire to like bag a woman that night disappeared. I just wanted to talk to her about that band. So it was what you said. It's you let them, you see them for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty needs a witness, and I just let her in. I had no expectation at all. And what came out was just a budding friendship.
Yeah. You enjoyed her
Very much
immensely.
So. Yeah.
So, so that wasn't romantic though, was it? Or was
No.
it? Okay.
No.
Yeah. So it's interesting because sometimes that happens and it turns romantic.
Mhm.
Like the moment he's in the shot. It's okay. It's going to be a messy video. So the moment it's going to be that much better for you two, for you guys, because it's just you see the weird shit that goes on.
Yes.
The moment you guys surrender and really just enjoy a woman, they can start to like you. Especially if you're good at turn on and not being a nice guy and not apologizing for being, and you're just having fun. And then suddenly they're like chasing you. They're trying to get you into bed, things like that. And that's really cool. And it's a cool feeling. Yeah.
In my experience, when I approach a woman, because I don't like to, I don't drink alcohol, so I usually don't like to go to bars, or if I go to clubs, it's so loud, right? I have to, I approach girls in supermarkets, train stations, on the street, and then I have less than 30 seconds, to get contact, because they're walking or they're doing something.
Well, you still have 30. If you stop them, you have 30 seconds. You can easily get 30 seconds out of a stop. You can get minutes out of a stop. You just stop them. If they're not stopping for you, then there's something off in your approach. That's the first thing we need to fix. On average, I'm not saying everybody will stop for you, but you see what I mean. Most of them will.
Yes. But on the street there's traffic.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you're not jumping in front of their car.
Yeah.
They're not driving their car. They're walking,
like,
right?
Yeah. For example, I'm waiting for
Okay.
the red light, right?
Yeah.
And then so.
You're driving. You're talking about.
Not driving, but I'm a pedestrian.
Okay.
For example, she's right next to me, and we are waiting for the red light.
Well, you got plenty of
The way
time.
I do it is just I just ask her, hey, I like you, I think you're beautiful, and ask for, I would like to date you, and then
Yeah.
get their contact. I often get contact this way, but
You don't get responses.
I never, rarely do I ever get a second date.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, even a
Yeah.
first date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. First date.
Yeah, I can tell you. That's obvious, right? If you lead with that approach
Yeah.
and you get a phone number, they're most likely being nice, giving you the phone number, moving on. Because remember, the first 30 seconds to 5 minutes, right in that range, you've got to get attraction. You get this sense of attraction, this resonance, and then you get this little bit of sense of rapport, which bonds you to a little bit, that curiosity.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make her call you back. If you're just getting creating some tension and getting the phone number, they're going to forget about you the next block. And you might be attractive. You might even be like, that guy's interesting, but a block later they forget. Let me give you an example of this. This is, again, this is from Lance Mason back in the day, but he says, picture you're walking down the street and your favorite sports car drives by. Do you have a favorite sports car? Do you even care?
Let's say Lamborghini.
Okay, a Lamborghini drives by. You'd be like, wow, that's a beautiful Lamborghini, but how much of the rest of the day are you thinking about it?
Not much.
Yeah. Now that Lamborghini drives by and pulls up right in front of you, stops, and the guy invites you in to drive the Lamborghini. You get to go for a ride, you get to drive it, you get to feel it on the road. How much are you going to be thinking about that Lamborghini over the next day, week?
Yeah.
Okay, you got inside the Lamborghini. You got to feel the Lamborghini. You got to have an emotional response to the Lamborghini rather than just see it and experience a flash. And if you just come up and be like, hey, I'm attractive, I'm going to dance for you, I'm going to flow for you, let me get your number and move on, that's attraction game. That's being attractive. He's maybe fun, he maybe made me laugh, so I gave him my number. But an hour later, I'm not thinking about that. I'm like, hey, he was cool. He was a funny dude. But then so you text her. She doesn't even dislike you. Like you text her and she's like, oh, that's that funny guy. Yeah, I'm busy right now. And then she forgets again. Then you text again. And, oh, yeah. And then maybe you get one text and then, oh, yeah, how you doing? And you don't, there's no glue. And if you don't get good at that glue, then it doesn't stick. So when I'm talking about these conversations, there's glue. There's that connection. Connection is the energy where you open up and you feel each other. Then there's rapport and there's attraction within the connection. You know, attraction is, you know, you're a dork. Oh my, you're such a goofball. Anyways, let me get your number. You know, that's, okay, great, fun. We laughed together. We had some fun. We teased each other. We move on. Rapport is more of the depth. You're interesting. You're feeling inside of her and she's feeling inside of you. And there's some curiosity, like, who is this guy? What's going on inside of him? And that's that either a deep rapport conversation, a strong vulnerable talk, it's just a moment where the resonance happens, and you feel that resonance I've been showing you in the class. Yeah. That's the stuff that causes the bonding. And you're not getting that at the streetlight. That you have plenty of time to do it. You're just not doing it because you've never understood how to do it. So you're standing at the streetlight and you're like, oh, you're really attractive. Let me get your phone number. I'd love to take you on a date. That's a lot instantly. So what's she going to do? I don't mind the approach. You can say anything. A lot of teachers will say, don't say that. Say this instead. You got to do this. I don't give a hoot what you say. What I care about is how you respond to what you say. So if I say that, hey, you're really cute. Let me get your phone number. We should hang out. And then she's like, whoa, that's kind of fast. Or, okay, awkward. And then I'm like, and then what I'm going to do is dance off of that and get more rapport, play with her, flirt with her. But until I feel that lean in and that hook that I was talking about, maybe the eyes dilate a little bit, there's the changing of the skin tone, I'm not going to assume it's hooked. You know, do you get what I'm talking about? Yeah, and so there's a lot of ways you can approach. It's not the way you approach. But so now my favorite approach, and I've been saying this for a while, is how's your day going? And that tells me everything I need to know. I just lean over and go, how's your day going? You know, or I look at her in the eyes, let her in, feel her like I'm doing to you right now, and how's your day going? And you feel how they're sincere and you can feel me? Yeah. And then your response is like, oh, it's pretty good. And as I see the like, wow, I felt that. You can see that look in her face. And then I'll be like, then I'll play off of that. I'll tease, I'll banter, I'll bust her balls, I'll come back and I'll go deep rapport, I'll play, whatever the moment wants. Yeah. Like, well, what are you out doing today? Like, because I can see she gave me permission. Oh, that sounds fun, tell me more about that. And then there's this curiosity starting to build because I'm letting her in. And we dance off of that. And it's fun, you know, but you could start with something more bold. I could say, you know, I had to come over and meet you. There's something about you. What's your name? You know, especially if she's walking towards me down the street and I have to stop her, walking up in front of her and going, hey, how's your day going? Might be a little weird. I could probably pull it off with enough practice, but never done that way. But stepping in front of her and saying, hey, I just want to say hi. How's your day going? No, I'm doing it again. But having fun. It's about you having fun and inviting her into your fun. That's what makes it all work. And then inviting her into that resonance we've been practicing. Remember when we were doing all the testing and you guys weren't breaking? You're doing that, you're getting hit, boom, I'm moving. That's the resonance. That's the flow. That's the dance. That's the play. That's the artistry of it. And because most of you guys in the beginning, the littlest thing and you're gone in your head, and that kills that first 30 seconds to 5 minutes. If the first thing that goes off, she stares at her cell phone, she sees somebody she knows, and you're gone in your head, it's done. It's over. But if you can hold that space, like, I remember getting some resonance. I've done this more than once. There's a couple times, but I remember the first time I did it was at a bar. I had this really good connection with this girl. We had this nice little talk, and it was a nice little bit of resonance that was going on. I went to the bathroom, came back, and some other guy was hitting on her. And I said, I wonder if I could do this. I was kind of figuring more of this stuff out, and I walked up and said, I'm going to stand there and ground and not say a word. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to say a word. Technically, this should be awkward, but I'm going to stand there and just open up my energy, ground the space, put it around the guy and the girl, and just kind of wait, see what she does. She immediately turned to me and started talking to me and started laughing and laughing with me, and we started having a good time, and the guy disappeared. And I was like, well, it was easy enough. I didn't have to say a word. And then I remember another time I was talking to this girl at this party in Hollywood, same thing. I was just teaching this guy, and I said, I already knew I had a little bit of connection with this girl, so I'm going to do this. He was also, got to be honest, that guy didn't have any game. So I just walked up and I just said, I'm just going to stand here. If he can talk to her and keep her, I'll walk away. I'm not going to say a word, but if she turns towards me and locks in with me, I'm going to take her. And I did that exact same thing. I stood there, waited. And then she turned towards me. We locked in, and he couldn't keep up. Now his game was terrible, so I feel bad. But because I hate muscling in on guys that when the guys are working really hard to try to. I'm like, I feel bad. I don't want to blow them out. But that stuff happens, and that's that connection. They get curious. They want to lean in. Is this making sense? And you all experienced it a little bit today. You started experiencing it today as we were practicing. Now you got to be able to get it a little more. You're not going to get it with everybody. You're not going to get it everywhere. You're not going to get every girl. There's no pickup artist in the world that can get every girl, as much as they love to promote that idea. I can get any girl with this technique. Say these 5 lines. It's all bullshit. It's all marketing. But what you can do is get pretty damn good, where you can get girls to lean in, interested, get phone numbers, get regular callbacks, get regular dates. And that comes with, it always starts with the letting them in. If you can't do that, the rest is work. It's all work. And that, you can do that in seconds when you walk up, letting them in. Seconds, almost immediately. And then from there, it's easy to create rapport, banter, play, and it doesn't take much. And that's kind of the idea of that idea around the first 30 seconds to 5. So maybe it's really the first second to 5 minutes, somewhere in that range, first second to 3 minutes. Because at that point, let's say we get to 3 minutes, and it hasn't happened yet, she's going to try to find a way out. She's going to make an excuse. I got to go to the bathroom. Oh, I got something to do. Got to be somewhere, right? So maybe Lance was right. Maybe if we don't get some level of connection, it's going to be hard to even get past 5 minutes, 3 minutes, let's say. But I'm kind of playing with a range right now, but that's how I look at it. So, okay. I think that's a good talk right there. What do you guys think? Okay.
Right.
Awesome. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and put a comment. We want comments. I'm going to have all these guys read the comments, and then they're going to comment back. How's that? You guys all going to read the comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is an impromptu YouTube video for last second, so hopefully this will be out on Sunday. It's Friday, so anyways, remember, only the courageous. Remember, only the courageous really live. Okay. See you in the next video. Done.
Nice.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you. I like the messiness of it all because it makes it really human and real, you know. Because with all the AI, people are so sick of the fake shit, right? So, cool. Cool.